how did you get involved in the project? Were you looking for something to do that was more kid-friendly, or was it just the story?
Honestly, I was attracted to these images. Animalogic, the animation company, had prepared these images to show the studio because they knew that the project existed, that Warner Brothers had the project, and they were pitching them to say, hey, we could make an animated film out of it. And I actually just saw the paintings, and I said, what is that? And there was just images of these owls with like battle claws and embers flying around, and they looked awesome.
They were paintings?
They were just paintings, yeah, that they like production art that they had done. And
were they on a computer, or were they?
No, they were just rendered out on a big, like the, kind of like the size of the poster there. And so I said, wow, what is that? And they were like, oh, it's this animated film. And they were like, you're not interested in this by any chance, are you? And I was like, well, it's kind of cool. And so one thing led to another. Then I found out about the books and sort of, I do love adventure stories, and I do love, I was saying that I love the idea of like sort of a mythic journey, like a Joseph Campbellian
Absolutely.
style.
It's a hero's journey. You seem to stick to that pretty well.
And it's just a thing that I've always loved, and I just felt like, the kind of films that kids are exposed to these days, they're always like a comedy, there's not a lot of like straight sort of mythic journey for children,
and where they feel connected to their own path, which they have to find themselves at some point.
100%.
And so earlier is better for that.
100%. And the other thing is that we made the movie so that we took it seriously, right? Like we didn't say, oh, I wonder if a kid would like this. It's like I just was like, this is the story I want to see.
Yeah, it's very adult, but kids can watch it.
Yeah, and then that was the kind of movie I wanted to make. And so I felt like the studio sort of got that pretty early on, and that's how we ended up. We try to make it. There's some light moments, but there's light moments in the book. And so it was that balance to try and have there be a couple like sort of, what we call sort of fun characters rather than
like Digger and Eglantine
and Twilight.
Twilight, yeah.
As opposed to, having like a joke a minute, kind of like Shrek style.
Best thing about the movie is it teaches kids about being, responsible for their own future and for what they can create whatever they want.
100%.
And their imagination is key, and all of that is really good.
We wanted the kids, a lot of. It's funny that you should say that because as we were making the movie, we were always talking about like, oh, the kids know this, and the kids, because the adults are kind of unsure of the pure ones, like what their plans are, but the kids they know exactly what the problem is. Yeah. And so there's this cool, it's also, we always, I said that's a cool place to be, where the kids kind of, in some ways, have more knowledge in this scenario than the adults, and that the adults are still skeptical, where the kids have this sort of like, unpolitical view of it. They just know that it's bad and we got to stop it.
That's the hero's choice, and that's what I think is really good about that movie and your other ones as well. So, I find it interesting when you talk about the fact that you saw the paintings and then were drawn to doing the movie. When I read about the fact that your first influences of wanting to be a director was around the art for Zeta and heavy metal and all of that. How much of an influence is visual art in the work that you do? To me, the art has a huge influence in the sense that, for me, movies to me are always come from pictures, like it's moving pictures, whatever you want to call it. And you've been doing comic book-based movies as well, so there's pictures there.
Which are all based on pictures. So, I always find, the image, for me, those first images that really become the spark of what the movie is, those always have a really strong resonance for me. They always stay with me through the entire process. No matter what movie I make, there's always that one picture that sticks in my head that says, okay, this is why I want to do it, and make that real, or sort of find the power that image had over me and inspired me and made me dream of what a bigger world outside of it, but that picture was that one little window, that one little invitation. It also goes back to, when you see a trailer for a movie or when you see an image from a movie, that image or that moment is like a promise. The movie. Oh
my God, that's so funny you would say that.
It promises you something, like a world, and I think that then it's the filmmaker's responsibility or whatever to sort of fulfill that, the rest of it. And the better the image is the first time you see it, sort of the more intense that that promise is. And so
One of the artists that we work with, his name's John Alvin. He died a few years ago, but he used to say, because he was a campaign artist, he did E.T. and Blade Runner and Young Frankenstein.
Oh, cool.
He did those posters, and he said, making movie posters is the promise of a great experience.
It's 100% true, and I think that and I sort of have always felt that way about, you know, movie art and imagery. You know, it's that whenever you're first introduced to something, or when you first are sort of see into that little bit of that world, you know, it's always bigger than, you know, the world actually can be, because your imagination is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just, I think, you know, to get as close as you can to like what your first impression is the best scenario.
To try to make sure that you make good on that promise.
That's it.
What do you think is the reason why so many more really heavy-hitting actors, like the cast that you have in The Guardians is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the best of the best. What do you think it is that is making so many A-list actors do animation now?
I think that, you know, I think animation in the last, 10 years is really, you know, with Pixar and, you know, Disney and Lion King and, you know, this sort of renaissance of animation has been pretty amazing. And that, I think that, you know, for A-list actors and great actors in general, you know, the opportunity with animation is really to explore in a character, and they can do it in sort of a collapsed time frame, and it's kind of convenient. They don't have to go on location. You know,
right.
You can record everything just right in town or wherever they are. You know, they could be in Bulgaria or whatever. They continue their little part, you know, wherever they are. So there's a convenience aspect to it, and then I really feel like the kind of pictures that we're making now have really, like, I think, expanded sort of cinematically, like, what's available to see, in the sense that, like, you can go to an animated film and see stuff that you can't see in a live-action film, and go to a world that you can't go to.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that doing 300 and the battle sequences in that movie informed the battle sequences in Legends of the Guardian?
Well, I think that the action, I have a particular sort of action eye, you know, and sort of a particular way I like to, you know, I'm sort of into fight choreography, and sort of I like to see.
There's a lot of that in the Guardians movie too, with the claws, the talons, and the close-ups.
Well, I actually, Damon Caro, who did the fight choreography for 300 and for Sucker Punch and Watchmen and all my movies, I got him and his guys, my stunt team, and I had them put on these cardboard owl wings, and we actually, and I would videotape them fighting, and that became a lot of the previews for the fight sequence.
So cool.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was embarrassing for them, of course, because they had these cardboard wings. They're big, tough guys, but they did a great job.
What's it like? You consistently are working with your wife in the movies. What is that? How does that allow you to be freer in the work that you do?
Look, you know, it's having your significant other as your partner is awesome, because it allows, you know, you have someone that you can trust without any agenda, zero agenda other than to make the movie awesome, you know.
And they trust you.
Well, and I trust them, which is the hard part too. She trusts that I'm not gonna. She trusts that I have maybe a story to tell or something that's like specific that I want to get done, and I trust that, you know, she's like 100%, you know, dedicated to sort of the process of making the movie and making sure we have all the tools that we need, and that's a rare thing where that other element is that other sort of partner is completely dedicated without any like other projects or other distractions or, you know, all the things that come with just working in the business. And I think that she's so for us as a company, we have a shared vision, but also we have a shared sort of you know, our partnership goes beyond just, you know, like we're with each other 24 hours a day. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think of Legend of the Guardians as kind of being Lord of the Rings with owls. So I hope a lot of people will go and see it for its mythic and, you know, heroic qualities, and also to come and see your Sucker Punch movie when it comes out as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Awesome.
Right, bye.